Hello, my friend. Welcome to my WIP Wednesday, and I'm going to cover some FOs too, but I was going to originally do that on Friday, but I think this FO over here is just too cute not to cover. So in WIP Wednesday, I would like to talk about the projects that I'm working on and give you a sneak peek of things that I've finished in the last week or so, and give you an opportunity to say hi to Johnny Cash. Did you want to say hi? You're such a good boy. Okay, so he is going to hop down here real quick, and I'm going to begin my show and tell. So grab yourself a little snacky snack, maybe a nice little drink, and we can go ahead and get started. So this here is my finished object. It's the Marsala cardigan by Berocco, and it's knit using my Haunted colorway in the bulky base, so the Salcanti bulky base. I can't even begin to tell you. It looks a little crooked because of the way I have it on the mannequin. It's not because it's crooked, I promise. I should have probably looked at that before I just sat down. But I've had such a long day and I'm tired. So you can get the idea. It's not crooked. I knit it properly. But this piece is knit in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces and then seamed flat. So this portion here is knit in one piece up into the back of the neck. This portion is knit the same way. And then you have a front panel on both sides, a back panel that is one piece, and then you have the sleeves that are one piece. And it does have a raglan type construction here, even though it is knit flat, which is pretty cool. All in all, this was a great pattern. It worked up really fast and it was really fun to work because of the bulky weight yarn. It was super quick. The thing that I languished on the most was seaming the pieces together. Boy, do I hate doing that. Every time I make a seamed garment, I tell myself I'm never making a seamed garment again. And then the horrors of working it wear off after a couple months, and I find myself making another seamed garment. So I'm glad I made this one though, because it's going to be a lovely piece to wear during the fall. Now, if you do decide to work this pattern, then there are some caveats I want to kind of put in front of you before you cast on, because there's things that I'm going to share with you that's going to make it a lot easier for your piece to come out looking finished and even and straight. First of all, when you're working these two front pieces that join to the front panels, they want you to seam them in the back of the neck using a mattress stitch, or however, they just want you to sew two pieces together. If I had to do this over again, I would do a provisional cast on both sides, and then I would Kitchener together those two pieces, because that seam at the back of the neck is a little bulky because of the bulky weight. So if you were to work this, if you were going to work this, then I highly suggest that when it tells you to cast on for these, cast on provisionally, so you have some open stitches, some live stitches to Kitchener together to make that seam less bulky. Second tip I'm going to give you for working this pattern tells you to work these sections in inches, not in rows. So most patterns do that because row gauge can differ, and they kind of want to give you, they don't want to stick you to a row gauge or a row count if your row gauge is a little off. So what I did, and why I did this, is because I've had experience knitting seamed pieces before and know that inches don't always line up. I've knit pieces before, panels before, where I've knit this to be 13 inches, and then I came back and knit this to be 13 inches, and guess what? It turns out that they were uneven and they didn't match. So what I did is, whenever I started on pieces that I know I had to do 2 of, I counted my rows. So I did the same number of ribbing for every portion that had ribbing. And then once I reached the stockinette portion, I started counting my rows. And that allowed me to create pieces that fit perfectly together, which was really the reason I tend to stay away from seamed garments. The matching up and making sure everything is even is just too daunting for me, and it stresses me out. But this one was it was the least stressful seamed garment that I've done because of the steps I took to ensure that I was going to have pieces that match correctly. Even here at the raglan edge and the armholes underneath on the underarms, all of these matched perfectly to where I didn't have to change any of my, stitches whenever I was mattress stitching it together. I could just, pin the piece on there and then go ahead as if, let me just suffice to say that it was perfectly aligned and I didn't have to do any adjustments. That's what I was trying to get out. My brain sometimes throws in way too many words that I don't need. So this piece is finished and is ready to wear and waiting for cooler weather, which should be here next week, in the next 2 weeks, which I'm super excited about. Now, onto the WIPs, the works in progress, that I am so excited about. Now, this one, you know what? I'm gonna save that one for last, and I'm gonna talk about this WIP. So this WIP is a vintage t-shirt. I want to say t-shirt because it has short sleeves, but it's a vintage blouse. Let's just call it that because it's not a t-shirt, but it has a construction of a t-shirt. So this is a vintage blouse that I picked up quite some time ago, actually, and it's just been languishing here while I was pleasantly distracted with other WIPs and other cast-ons. But I'm taking this vintage pattern and I am translating it from a knit flat garment to a seamless garment. So this is knit in the round and then split when the arms are introduced, so the armhole edges. And I anticipate that when I get to the sleeves, I'm just going to pick up the sleeves from the edges and not knit them as one piece, like the pattern is instructing me to do so. So you can tell I've made quite a bit of progress on this. So I've got the back complete. And if we look here, let me see if I can get it up here. So it has a striped stitch pattern that goes up to a certain point, and I think it's right here the stitch pattern stops, and then this gray will start to take over, and the stitch pattern just goes from here to the bottom. And it has a very relaxed fit around the waist, and it has a tighter fit around the top, which I think is very flattering for me. It has a very generous rib portion at the bottom, which is also something that's very flattering for me. And in addition, let me not drop my stitches here. In addition to making this a knit in the round garment instead of a seamed garment, I'm also grading this pattern because it was originally published to only be a size medium or a size 32 or 34, I believe. And I'm grading this all the way up, all the way from an extra small to a 5XL. So that way it's more accessible to more people. Now, this will be the first time I've ever graded a pattern, but I'm very good at math and I'm very good at spreadsheets. And the one that I'm making for myself so far is turning out immaculate. It fits me perfectly. So I expect once I get done with the next WIP that I'm showing you, I expect that I'm going to pick that up unless something else fantabulous catches my eye. So that is going to be my next WIP after I finish this current WIP here that I'd like to show you. And this, what did I drop? Nothing. This is the Halloweb shawl, and I can't remember off the top of my head who it is because I've referenced a couple patterns in helping people find the yarn that I used, that I've, posted on Instagram. I've referenced a couple patterns today, so the names are getting jumbled. But I'll just pop a little thing up here to tell you what the name of the person is who made this. But this is the Halloweb shawl, and it's a Halloween inspired shawl. Isn't this gorgeous? I'm using my colorway Pumpkin King, which is going to be this beautiful orange color here. And then I'm using my colorway Classic Monsters, which is going to be here. And my favorite part about the shawl, and something that I've never done before, is that this uses little beads. So if you can see, let me see if I can get you to focus. I can't tell if it's focused because I can't see anything. But it has all these gorgeous little orange beads all throughout the gray webby parts and even on the bottom here. And I can't tell you how excited I am to finish this. So I am on section 6 here, which is, I think, 3 sections away. I think I have another Pumpkin King section. Then I have another, or the finishing border lacy portion. And I think it's done. I think there's 8 sections, but I don't know yet. I'm trying not to jump too far ahead in the pattern, but I think I've looked at it before, and I think there's 8 or 9. So I'm very, very close to finishing this. And I'm listening to A Court of Wings in Ruin while I work on this. And let me tell you, that book, it is so long. I think it was like 18 hours. I'm on hour 11, and it is just slogging for me. I'm having such a hard time. I've almost DNR'd it like multiple times and just switched over to something more interesting. But I'm hoping that it changes pace soon and it gets out of all this military military tactic kind of, talk and all that. It's just boring. It's boring the tears out of me. I'm just, gosh, like falling asleep. I would have been done with this a lot sooner had I not been so tired from listening to that book. But this I expect to be off the needles probably, or off the hook, probably within the next 2 or 3 days, pending on other things coming up. So updates for the shop. I am actually in talks of leasing a retail location here in the city I live in, which is something I've been talking about for forever. It's been over a year. I've been looking for the perfect location, and I finally found it. I found the perfect location right next to the post office, and it has a huge space in the back where I can set up my dyeing stuff and dye yarn back there. It is the perfect space. It has a front-facing area that I could use for retail that has beautiful hardwood flooring and a bay window, and it's perfect and inviting, and it has lots of rooms, private rooms that I guess were used for meeting rooms that can be used for teaching classes on knitting and crocheting and Tunisian crochet, and teaching classes on hand dyeing your own yarn. I've got so many ideas, and there's even an area kind of behind the classroom type areas that is just a huge open space with a little water fountain like to drink from, and a little kitchen area with a sink. And I think that would be the absolute perfect place to have a communal knitting spot where people can come together who like to knit, crochet, Tunisian crochet, and just sit and get to know each other and make friends and eat some snacky snacks and work on their projects. And the amount of thoughts, I kept myself up until 3 o'clock in the morning last night, just laying in bed thinking about all of the things that I could do with this space. And I should hear something tomorrow, fingers crossed. But here's the thing, I am not going to be disappointed if I don't get it, because I've been in this vibe, in this space lately where I know the universe is taking care of me. There has been too many things happening in my life recently that has just proven to me that the universe has got me on a path, and I'm going to trust it 100%. So whether I get this space or it's another space, I'm going to be content either way. I will be a little sad about the possibilities that I've thought up in my head of this space if I don't get it, but at the same time, it's not going to stop me from moving forward, and it's not going to stop me from trying to find a location again. I will continue my search. But that's the exciting news that I've been so eager to share. So I should have some information tomorrow. I'll probably post on my Facebook or my Instagram if I get notification that I will get it or won't get it. It depends. Like, I'll post either way. But yeah, so that's, I don't know why I held that up so long, but I guess it's just so pretty. I just wanted you to see it for as long as possible. But those are my updates. I know this isn't really as long as my usual Fiber Fun videos or where I talk about WIPs and stuff, but I just don't really have that much on the needles anymore because I've been flying through things and working on them very rapidly. So that's a good thing. I'm not casting on as much as I have been, which feels odd to me, but it's not because I don't want to. It's just that because I'm so engaged in the projects that I'm doing that I would much rather be working on this than casting something new on. Oh, there was the rune mitts. I frogged those again because I'm just not, I'm I'm struggling with technique and I want to get technique down first. But yes, anyway. So that's my WIP Wednesday, my update on what I'm working on, what I finished, and kind of what my plans are in the shop and, just general life updates. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like, give me a comment. Let me know what you're working on. Have you finished anything recently that you're excited about? You can always share a link to an Instagram post or something. I'd love to check it out and see what you've been working on. Or you can jump over onto my Facebook page. I have a Facebook page called Mountaintop Yarn, and I also have a group called the Mountaintop Yarn Family. So if you actually have some Mountaintop yarn and you are working on something or you have a finished item that you would like to share, there's a great group of wonderful people in that community that love seeing your WIPs and talking about the yarn and giving you lots of love and kudos for the great work you've done on your objects. So please come and join us and share your finished objects and get some loving for it. You deserve it. You worked so hard on that. Better believe I'm going to be posting this in the Mountaintop Yarn Family group whenever I finish it, just to get all those loves from all the great people there. All right, until next time, I hope you make beautiful things and that whatever you're making just flies off the needles effortlessly. Bye.